audience question. Each debate will include a segment where the audience can ask up to 5 questions to each candidate. Audience members must submit their question via Zoom or YouTube in the respective platforms chat while the candidates are presenting, and the moderator will select the questions to ensure relevance and fairness. Cross-questioning. Candidates will have an opportunity to cross-question each other. This segment allows for dynamic and an interactive debate. Each candidate will be allowed to ask up to 3 cross questions, and the responses should be concise with a time limit of 2 minutes per response and a 1 minute for a follow-up question. Now, for the presidential segment, a total time of 10 minutes is allotted, 5 minutes for the presentation, and 5 minutes for the question and answers. 5 questions can be asked by the audience. These questions will be fielded to candidates through the moderator, and the debate will feature a dedicated 5-minute segment for presidential candidates to present their vision and key initiatives. Candidates will be judged on clarity, feasibility, and impact of their proposals. General conduct, we are reminding all candidates that professionalism and respect is paramount. Candidates must maintain respectful throughout the debates. Failure to follow the above mentioned rules will result in the immediate removal of the offender from the room and an investigation into the possible role that any candidate may have played in any breach of the rules above. The first candidate in tonight's debate will be Mr. Nikhil Lilwani from the Castle High School, and I'm going to open the floor for him to start his presentation. Mr. Lilwani, your mic is muted.
Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nikhil Alwani, and I am running for the position of National General Secretary. When I was in second form, my teacher said, "Be enough, Nikhil. It's enough people in this world that prosper." What if Edison didn't create light bulbs or Benz developing gas engine cars? That stuck with me throughout my entire school career thus far, and today I stand before you with a wealth of experience and a deep commitment to effective leadership within the National Secondary Students Council. Having served in various capacities within the NSSC prior to this role, alongside my tenure as President of MADUUN and Senior Vice President of the Students' Council, I bring a comprehensive understanding of the dynamics that drive successful management and staff relations. My journey within the NSSC has equipped me with first-hand knowledge of the organization's inner workings, the importance of clear communication through initiatives like the National NSSC database, and the meticulous documentation of meeting minutes to ensure accountability and transparency. Throughout my tenure, I have also had the privilege of representing our collective interests at regional and national events, advocating passionately for student rights and opportunities. These experiences have underscored the significance of effective representation and strategic engagement in advancing our goals. As I assume the role of National Secretary, I am committed to maintaining continuity and advancing the NSSC's mission with unwavering dedication. My background in various leadership roles has prepared me to uphold the highest standards of integrity, collaboration, and visionary leadership. In conclusion, with a proven track record of service and a deep-seated passion for student advocacy, I am ready to leverage my experience to further elevate management and staff relations within the NSSC. Together, let us continue to make an impact. Thank you. Any questions?
All right. We want to thank Nikhil for an insightful presentation. I'm not seeing any questions from the chat. He's the only candidate vying for the general secretary position. There are no questions from the chat, so we're going to move right along. The next candidate is Jamal Peter, vying for the position of Public Relations Officer, and he's from Monroe College. Mr. Peter, you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Okay, is everyone seeing me properly?
We're seeing.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It was Simon Sinek who said, leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in your charge. Picture a school where every student's achievements are celebrated, where communication flows seamlessly, and where every voice is heard. Imagine a community where students actively participate and lead, where mental health and well-being are prioritized, and where we all feel a profound sense of belonging. Well, this is the vision I have for our schools, and it is why I am running for the position of National Public Relations Officer. Why do we go to school every day is a question we ask ourselves daily. To learn, yes, but also to excel and be recognized for our unique talents and hard work. Celebrating our students' accomplishments and initiatives is critical to fostering a motivating and inspirational atmosphere. As public relations officer, I will ensure that our diverse abilities and projects are showcased for everyone to see. This is why I propose a student spotlight program. Imagine senior achievements highlighted on social media and school challenge channels. Your hard work recognized through engaging content like interviews and feature stories. Have you ever felt like your concerns are not heard or that you're left in the dark about important decisions? Clear and transparent communication is essential for effective public relations. I aim to bridge the gap between the student body and the council, making sure every student is informed and that their concerns are addressed promptly. We are not just students, we are members of a larger community. Developing strong links between our schools and the wider community enhances our educational experience and fosters a sense of belonging. I am committed to increasing community involvement and ensuring our schools are recognized as vital parts of our communities. Mental health is just as important as academic success. Ensuring students' mental health and well-being is crucial to their overall performance. I will advocate for better awareness and resources for mental health in our schools. Anything else outside of that, have to go down. In closing, let's work together to build a school community that celebrates our achievements, communicates transparently, engages with our community, prioritizes mental health, and encourages leadership. It was Bob Marley who said, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. Vote for me, and let's make this vision a reality to make every little thing be all right. Your choice, your voice. Vote John White Peter for National Relations Officer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter. Are there any questions from the audience? All right. So there's a question here. In terms of for mental health, in schools, how exactly do you plan to make this effective in schools?
Okay, thank you for that question. So the question states, in terms for our mental health in schools, how exactly do you plan to make this effective in schools. So, well, all around different schools in Jamaica realize that students have been attacked with mental health problems in the various schools. For this proposal, I would have to first plan for the different persons who have mental health. We have to go around and figure out the different person, the different schools who are going around and suffering with mental health. So to initiate this, I would definitely have to go around to different principals, different vice principals to figure out a way in which we can tackle this issue.
All right, there's a next question. How do you plan to build brand awareness for the National Secondary Students Council?
Yes, thank you for that question. I have seen that where the NSSC brand has not been put out to a lot of students where they are unaware of all of this. Therefore, knowing that even in this campaigning period, we can reach out to different schools for the different votings from the different delegates. I believe just like this, as national PRO, we can reach out to the different schools and share different initiatives where we can get the word out to different students that NSSC elections are happening, or NSSC, something is being posted on the NSSC Instagram page where they can find a place where they can look to say this is happening or what they do not know about. So that is how I would go about brand awareness.
I'm seeing a raise of hand, Nicardo.
All right, so good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
You're a bit muffled.
Right.
All right, are you hearing me now?
Yeah, clear.
All right, so there's a question from the YouTube chat, and it states, how will you keep the standards of the NSSC Instagram page?
Okay, thank you for that. As the current president or moving into the current presidency of Monroe's Journalism Society, I have been given the different tools, the different abilities, the different things that have accessorized myself to to help to continue the reputation of the NSSC page, because I have been a part of the Journalism Society where we have been editing pictures. We know how to create different posters, different documents to post within the page to create a brand for Monroe College. So I believe that as PRO, I would have the various capabilities and all the different actions to go out and to make NSSC page even better or to continue its lasting legacy.
All right, thank you for that response.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Peter. I believe that is the last of questions. This final question. We will be moving on to the next candidate. And this candidate is Mr. Jaden Miller from St. Mary High School. Mr. Miller, you may begin your presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are you seeing and hearing me clearly?
Yes, I am seeing you and I'm hearing you clearly. You may begin.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jaded Miller, a proud representative from the St. Mary High School, and I am excited to announce my candidacy for the National Public Relations Officer with a track record of leadership roles in various student organizations, such as a prefect, executive member of the Media Society, secretary of the Student Council, public relations officer for the Gender Ambassadors Club, NSSC Region 2 Secretary/PRO, acting General Secretary of the Model UN and the Young Innovators Club, just to name a few, which I have developed a strong communication skills and passion for enhancing public images. As a seasoned public relations expert, I understand the importance of advocating for student voices and promoting effective communication. As an aspiring NSSC public relations officer, my manifesto outlines my plan to raise student awareness, facilitate effective communication, advocate for student voices, and provide a platform for student leaders to emerge. Raise student awareness. If I'm entrusted with this role, I will be committed to upholding the principles of student-centered advocacy. I will actively seek out and incorporate diverse perspectives, amplifying the voices of all students, lead discussions, incorporating articles and media productions that showcase their unique experiences and concerns. By elevating student voices and fostering a culture of inclusivity, I aim to create an environment where every student could feel seen, heard, valued, and their needs are prioritized and addressed. Facilitating effective communication. I am dedicated to harnessing the transformative potential of communication to foster meaningful connections, informed dialogue, and collective inspiration among all the students across all the regions. I am dedicated to establish and maintain open, transparent, inclusive channels of communication, recognizing that the effective communication is the foundation upon which trust, understanding, and community are built. Advocating for student voices. It is often said that the biggest thing is to let your voices be heard. Let your story be heard. When amplifying diverse perspective and experience, we create a powerful catalyst for representation and inclusion. By sharing the stories of students from all 7 regions, we ensure that no student is overlooked or underrepresented. This helps to bring light onto their unique experiences, struggles, and triumphs, providing a sense of belonging, validation, and inclusion for all. In doing so, I can create a more inclusive and equitable environment where every student feels
I
valued
believe that is
and
time.
heard. As an aspiring NSSC public relations officer, I pledge to uphold the values outlined in this manifesto by raise student awareness, facilitate effective communication, advocate for student voice, and providing platform for student leaders to emerge. I will create a student council that empowers positive change and amplifies the student voices, ensuring every student's concerns are heard and valued. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Do we have any questions so far? Do we have any questions for him?
Well, I'm not seeing any questions for him in the me chat.
Question, is it one candidate?
Jaden Miller.
I believe there's a question on YouTube, but that was geared towards the previous candidate that came on before Jaden.
All right, there's one question in the chat. How do you deal with criticism as a leader?
Okay, thank you for that question. How do I deal with criticism is by using it as a driven force and an example of what not to do and to better myself from doing mistakes like that and to prevent myself to make the same mistake over and over and to get it better. Thank you.
There's the next question. Should you be elected as the public relations officer of the NSSC, what plans do you have to improve the image of the organization?
So the plans I have to improve the organization, as I said in my manifesto, Providing a platform for student leaders to emerge. On this platform would highlight a student who has exceptional leadership skills, showcasing their thorough, showcasing them through various digital channels, including social media posts, newsletter, etc. This will help to provide the student with a powerful opportunity to share their story, build their brand and development, and also it will be promoting an inclusive culture with diversity and excellence within the school communities, and also to engage with persons who comment on the different posts, giving them daily, weekly updates about different events and sensitization sessions that are happening throughout the term. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
right.
Just a reminder to all candidates, I'm going to urge all candidates to remember that we're being guided by time in the 3 minutes.
All right, I believe in the chat it was said that that question is also geared to all candidates. So could the previous candidates respond to the question? I'll repeat it. Should you be elected as a public relation officer of the NSSC, what plans do you have to improve the image of the organization? So everybody who is vying for that position may respond.
I'll start with Mr. Peter Jamoy.
Okay, sorry about that. Could your question be repeated, please?
Should you be elected as the Public Relations Officer of the NSSC, what plans do you have to improve the image of the organization?
Okay, thank you for that question. The image of the NSSC has been one of admiration already. So it is for us, the students, or for me, the public relations officer, to go onto that page and make sure the image is held to the standard. Try to figure out what has been keeping the NSSC image like this so that I can learn from it and also improve from what has been taught to the rest so I can continue to build the NSSC image or to continue to make it better. Thank you.
All right, Zanik.
Can everyone see?
Yes, we're seeing you.
How can we ensure that every school, no matter its size or location, has an equal opportunity to participate and benefit from NSSC's initiatives? How can we stay aligned with students' needs and concerns? In today's digital age, how can we effectively engage our student body? How can we ensure that our initiatives and activities are widely known and supported? How can we ensure students are aware of the opportunities available to them? These are questions that your National Public Relations Officer should be asking and answering. And these are questions that I, Zanik Jackson, will answer if the right choice is made and I become the National Public Relations Officer. Good evening, moderators, fellow students, and dedicated members of the National Secondary Students Council. I am Zanik Jackson, a privileged candidate for the position of National Public Relations Officer. First and foremost, the National Executive has the responsibility to lead advocacy efforts at a national level. In this regard, the National Executive is concerned with matters that cannot be resolved at the school or regional level, or matters that affect multiple schools and students. Therefore, I, of course, plan not only to engage within my region, but at the national level with all regions ranging from regions 1 to 7. As the National Public Relations Officer, my vision is to celebrate the diverse voices and talents of Jamaican secondary students through authentic communication, advocacy, and action. I aim to connect student communities and foster meaningful relationships with society at large, leaving a lasting legacy of collaboration, progress, and positive social impact. Together, we can reach new peaks with Zen Youth and ensure our voices resonate across the nation. As a student of B. Hampton School, I have faced communication issues firsthand relating to the NSSC. Our school, like many others, has sometimes been left out of the loop and then deemed inactive simply due to a lack of timely communication. This is not just a problem, it is a missed opportunity for engagement and growth for many students. Being in this position, I can empathize with other schools facing similar challenges and eliminate them. Every student deserves to be informed and engaged. I will ensure that necessary communication reaches not just the student body, but also the principals and advisors of these schools. By utilizing diverse platforms such as social media, WhatsApp, and email, we can share updates and announcements promptly while also directly contacting schools who lack response. A feedback channel will be established where students can select their region and share their inputs and ideas. Regional executives will handle their region, and if the matter cannot be dealt with at their level, we utilize the chain of command to ensure each and every voice is heard and valued. In today's digital age, with technology advancing daily, it's crucial for organizations like the NSSC to maintain a strong digital footprint to reach broader audiences and stay relevant. I bring a keen understanding of the importance of digital presence in today's rapidly evolving media landscape. I will ensure that content published resonates with current trends, attracting the attention of our target audience while maintaining appropriateness and relevance. Based on the expectations of a National Public Relations Officer in the Student Council Toolkit, I pledge to tirelessly monitor every press release statement and communication sent to the media by our esteemed officers. But it's not just about sending out messages. It's about ensuring that they resonate far and wide. Through strategic dissemination and engagement with media outlets, I will ensure that our voices echo across platforms, reaching audiences far and wide. In my tenure, I have 4 set initiatives I plan to achieve. 1, the National Student News Network. How can we foster a sense of community and shared information? By creating a platform with sections for each region where student councils can share highlights such as stories and reports, this can be achieved. The NSSC is all about empowering schools to keep their communities in the loop. And what better way to do that than by each school starting their very own newsletter?
That is time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm being told there are some questions over by the YouTube channel. Oh, all right.
All right, thank you for the responses by the candidates so far. So over to the YouTube chat. All right, so the first question is directed to Mr. Peter, and it states, how will you keep the standards of the NSC Instagram page? So Mr. Peter, could you respond to that one, please?
I think I just responded to that. I'm not sure.
All right, you gave a general overview, but you'd improve the image, but yes, you did respond in your statement earlier. All right, so the next question goes out to all candidates. Would you consider partnering with schools only for helping students concerning mental health or bigger healthcare businesses or etc.? So starting off with Mr. Peter, you can begin the chain of response for that question.
No, so very sorry about that. Please repeat the question.
All right, so the question states, would you consider partnering with schools only for helping students concerning mental health or bigger healthcare businesses?
Well, it depends on what we consider as a bigger healthcare issues, because not everything that we would want to address can be actually addressed. So for now, I believe that mental health, which is a more crucial thing in today's society or today's world in our schools with different students, I believe that it would be best for us to look into that, as it is affecting a lot of students today, than of, not to saying that the other sicknesses aren't of utmost importance, but seeing how mental health has been plaguing our schools, I believe that it would be best for us to look into that matter.
Awesome. Thank you for that response. Could the next candidate please respond?
Could you repeat the question, please?
All right. So the question states, would you consider partnering with schools only for helping students concerning mental health or bigger healthcare issues?
Okay, thank you. So I would, at first, we know that mental health affects everyone, all students, whether they show it publicly or they keep it to themselves. What I would do, I would try to tackle them one by one, see if we can get this mental health problem out of the way before going on to different mental health problems, achieving this goal one by one. And probably it will take some time, but in due time or so, we will be able to manage it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Could the final candidate respond, please?
Thank you for that question. Seeing as the position that I'm vying for is public relations officer, I would ensure that mental health, one, that's taken into consideration, but also other health issues. So you'd have National AIDS Day, HIV, we would ensure that students are being educated. We make posts towards those national days. And the workshops would be targeted towards mental health and also health in general.
Awesome. Thank you for those responses. Next question. All right. How will you drive innovation and inclusivity throughout the 7 regions if elected? You can start off since you're the last person to respond.
Could you please repeat?
All right, so the question states, how will you drive innovation and inclusivity throughout the 7 regions if elected?
To drive inclusivity.
All right, so let me go over it one more time. It says, how will you drive innovation and inclusivity throughout the 7 regions if elected?
Mr. Hines, can you repeat, please?
All right, no problem. So it said, how will you drive innovation and inclusivity throughout the 7 regions if you are elected?
Okay, seeing as the position is a national position, I would ensure to speak with all of the regional officers, and we would have workshops, Zoom meetings targeted to inclusivity, speaking just about inclusivity and how we would attack them and get through to it.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that response. Mr. Miller, could you respond to the question? And once again, the question states, how will you drive innovation and inclusivity throughout the 7 regions if elected?
Okay, so how I would drive innovation and inclusivity is by creating my team with the 7 different PRO officers and connecting to them to get them to connect through to their different schools in their different regions by hosting different sensitization sessions, workshops, and creating a diverse and inclusive culture while also encouraging open communication so that all message is being sent island-wide to the 7 regions so that no one feels underrepresented or overlooked. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that response. Mr. Peter, can you respond to the question? I'll repeat it once again. How will you drive innovation and inclusivity throughout the 7 regions if elected?
Okay, thank you for that. As being national PRO, to drive innovation and inclusivity, we'd have to make sure all the regions know about the one thing that we stand for. So having the different PROs in the different regions, we could reach out to them and let them know this is what we're doing. This is what is going to happen during this time. So all of them are included for innovation, or even for a region to stick out. We could even create competitions where we can have different things happening in the different regions at a specific time to see who will be the better region or who will stand out as our region. So therefore, I think that would be a good innovative step to have schools being inclusive as one.
All right, thank you, candidates, for those responses. Back over to the moderator.
All right, so there's a question, the generic question for all candidates for Ms. Zanik. Should you be elected as the Public Relations Officer of the NSSC, what plans do you have to improve the image of the organization?
Okay, the plans I have to improve the image of the organization. Firstly, I would have to speak with the previous National Public Relations Officer, get the tips from her to continue the page. I will ensure that the posts are made properly. They have a visual pleasure. The people who are viewing it can be entertained. I will keep up with trends and ensure that the posts that are made, they will go to our target audience.
Okay, there's the next question. How well will you manage your time in striking a balance between schoolwork and council work?
Seeing as for the upcoming school year, I will be in sixth form. I will have days that I don't have classes for the entire day. I will definitely use some of that time for NSSC. When I get home in the evening, I will use at least 1 hour that I would normally use for school and put it towards NSSC to ensure that everything related to post and communication is achieved.
All right. I want to thank Zanik for her very enlightening presentation. We're moving on to the next candidate, and that's Chelsea. And she's from the Immaculate Conception High School. Chelsea, you may unmute your mic and start your presentation.
Hi, everyone. Am I being heard?
We're hearing.
Okay, lovely. Behind every good institution is a great treasurer. Good afternoon, moderator, fellow candidates, delegates, and onlookers. My name is Chelsea Moulton, and I am from the Immaculate Conception High School. Tonight, I'll be presenting myself as well as my manifesto to evince my competency to serve as your national treasurer. Firstly, who am I? I am a student leader. Throughout my high school tenure, I've served as treasurer and secretary of the Peer Council Society, as vice captain of the football team, an active member of my school's student and prefect council, and more. I believe my experience in these positions, in addition to my personal qualities and skills, such as organization, analytical skills, dedication, and attention to detail, has equipped me with the capacity to fulfill the role of national treasurer. Now, in addition to who I am, I'd like to present some responsibilities and initiatives I hope to execute if given the opportunity to serve. Firstly, as a business student, I possess the ability and the knowledge to prepare financial statements, and more importantly, to analyze the data and present my findings. As National Treasurer, I intend to draft budgets to determine how funds will be allocated for various projects and events spearheaded by the NSSC. So whether it's charity, social, educational events, or student aid programs. Additionally, I will ensure to keep my executive body afloat with the financial status and needs of NSSC and make any necessary recommendations. Secondly, I will establish a monthly or bi-monthly dues target that each regional executive must collect from their region. These dues from all regions will subsequently be collected and deposited in the NSSC bank account, which I intend to gain access to. Lastly, as treasurer, one of my main goals is to ensure that NSSC effectively uses their funds to aid as much students as possible across Jamaica. As such, I will ensure our revenues exceed our expenses. To do so, I suggest we host fundraising events such as a 4K run or a sports tournament. And additionally, to alleviate the expense of hosting these, I will contact and partner with local businesses and organizations to sponsor these events and projects. So, a treasurer with business experience, a treasurer who is dedicated to their role, a treasurer who will ensure the funds are up, a treasurer who is committed to ensuring as much students can benefit from NSSC. If those sound like qualities you want in a treasurer, you're going to want to vote Moulton for your money. Don't forget, delegates, vote Chelsea Moulton for your national treasurer. For substance and quality, make me deal with your money. Thank you. Are there
All
any?
right, so it seems like I thank you, Miss Moulton. It seems like turmoil fell off. So there's currently no questions on either the Zoom chat or the YouTube chat. So we'll move on to the next candidate. Could Mr. J. John please present himself? He is coming from. All right, so we have Mr. Dejan McAlpin. I hope I pronounced the name right. He's from the York Castle High School. You may present. All right, so it seems that Mr. McAlpin is not on. So we'll be moving on to the next category of our debates, which will be the presidential candidates debate. So all the presidential candidates, please get yourself ready and we'll begin in a minute. Oh wait, we have a question in the chat for our treasurer. And the question says, as treasurer, how do you plan to get funds from councils around the island, if elected?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. Now, there are various delivery means across Jamaica, like Nutspread Express, but I will definitely establish a common ground for me and the regional executives to meet, to exchange the money and ensure that the amount of money presented in the statements that they have collected aligns with the amount of money I actually receive. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Love that response. Okay, so seem to not have any more questions. So thank you once again, Ms. Moulton, and all our candidates who are vying for the national post. Thank you so much. So next we have our presidential candidates coming up, and we'll just give them a minute to get ready, and then we will begin. All right? All right, so we have two candidates vying for the role for president for the NSSC, and they are Laurel Williams. She's from the Glenmuir High School. And also we have Naomi Miller, who is from the St. Hugh's High School. Are both candidates currently on? Please let me hear your responses.
Naomi Miller is on.
Good evening, Laurel Williams is present.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so we'll begin with Laurel. But before I begin, let me just go over quickly the rules for the presidential section. And it states that you guys are allotted 10 minutes, 5 minutes for presentation and 5 minutes for questions and answers. Up to 5 questions can be asked by the audience. These questions will be fielded to candidates through the moderator or myself. Candidates are expected to respond within the given time, so please don't exceed it. The debate will feature a dedicated 5-minute segment for presidential candidates to present their vision and key initiatives. Candidates will be judged on clarity, feasibility, and impact of their proposal. All right, so you may begin with your presentation, Ms. Williams. Laurel, are you still there? All right, Ms. Miller, are you ready?
Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you. You can begin,
You
Ms. Miller.
okay? Good night, everyone. All right, I'm about to begin. Warren Dennis once said, "Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality." Good evening, everyone. My name is Naomi Miller from the St. Hugh's High School for Girls, and tonight I come to declare my intentions as a player in the exciting race for the position of president of the National Secondary Students Council. My exposure to leadership began at a very young age, where I saw untapped potential within me that just needed a space to grow. Transcending levels, step up, stand out. My slogan in this campaign epitomizes the idea of you students, your potential, you students engaging your potential and growing to a level where your voices become your most valuable asset. Come along with me as we zoom through my manifesto. Level 1, Building Blocks Advocacy Campaign aims to partner with private entities to host a 2-part conference focused on advocacy. The first part will involve inviting students from all 7 regions to participate in an advocacy forum, focused forum. During this event, students will share their issues, their concerns, and recommendations for policy changes to improve the education system and school environments. In the second part of the event, policymakers from the Ministry of Education will be invited to address the issues raised by the students and to collaborate with the students to ensure that the advocacy that what they've advocated for is involved in the briefing. It is involved in the briefing and the legal alignment with all of the policies that are for them. The students of the National Secondary Students Council. The first part of this 2-part campaign will occur during the period of October. Pardon me. Excuse me. Let us say that over. Following the Students Advocacy Forum, policymakers will be briefed on the issues raised and to collaborate with consultation from students to ensure that the policies are drafted aligned with their concerns and their issues. The time frame of this to be done is in October, which is in alignment with the NSSC's annual general meeting. And the second part is scheduled to take place in November to allow for ample time for meetings and implementation of initiatives. Level 2, Startup Spark, Ignite Your Potential. This initiative aims to foster and develop entrepreneurship at the secondary level. It has been observed that there is a growing number of entrepreneurs and small business owners within the secondary schools. Through the National Secondary Students Council, we propose to host forums, workshops, and social networking spaces for these students, young entrepreneurs, to develop their skills and to connect with one another, thereby enhancing the effectiveness of their businesses and contributing to the economy of Jamaica on a broader scale. During the forums, students will have the opportunity to meet experienced entrepreneurs who will share their testimonials and to provide valuable insights from their own journeys. The workshops will equip students with the practical and theoretical skills necessary for managing their businesses, including money management, time management, and critical business development skills. Finally, the social networking spaces, what I love to call the networking arena, will allow student entrepreneurs to connect and to support each other and engage in the buying and selling process, thereby enhancing their entrepreneurial skills and business operations. The target time frame for this initiative is during Student Council Week, where students will also be exposed to the career development and readiness activities we will have set for them. And level 3, which personally is my favorite level, which is known as the multiplayer mode. The proposal for this level, as its name suggests, is a multiplayer mode, which aims to enhance not only regional integration of the various councils across Jamaica, but regional integration of student representation across the entire Caribbean region. This initiative focuses on partnering with the CXC and the CARICOM, and focuses on CXC, partnering with CXC and CARICOM member states. The National Secondary Students Council, a Jamaica student-led organization, serves as the voices of the secondary students on various levels. They stand as the voices of the secondary students to the private stakeholders and or public stakeholders. The idea is to initiate dialogue and to mobilize efforts towards establishing a Caribbean-wide student-led organization to enhance student representation on a regional scale. Collaboration with entities such as the Caribbean Examination Council and CARICOM, which the NSSC is already working with, will be crucial in realizing this vision. While acknowledging the ambitious nature of the endeavor, the initial steps involve convening a virtual roundtable discussion with students from various Caribbean nations to ignite interest and will foster dialogue. Additionally, strategic partnership with stakeholders, including CXC, will foster the development of a comprehensive proposal to be presented to CARICOM and its youth representation arm, known as the Caribbean Youth Ambassadors Corps. This collaborative effort aims to catalyze regional integration initiatives for student representation across the Caribbean region. My story is one of transformation. And not to turn this debate into a testimonial section, but initially, I served as a chaplain for my school until grade 10. In that year, I was appointed the student council representative for my class. Through joining my local council, I was exposed to the National Secondary Students Council, widely known as NSSC, where the realms of advocacy and its passions were revealed to me and started to move throughout my veins. I continued in the role of the student council representative until grade 11. During that time, I applied and served as the Region 1 Secretary/PRO for NSSC while simultaneously holding the position of student council president for my very own school. Along with these roles, I actively participate in various extracurricular activities, assuming leadership positions within the Debate Club, the Octagon Club, and the Inter-School Christian Fellowship, widely known as ISCF. Additionally, I served as the Eastern Regional President for the ISCF in Jamaica. My leadership experiences extend beyond school, as I've led positions within my church and other organizations. My journey has been filled with diverse leadership roles, shaping my passion for advocacy and service today. This is the vision I have for my tenure. If elected as national president, I will unravel higher levels in partnership with you. It is the Advocacy Enhancer, a plan that aims to bring all regions across Jamaica to the discussion table, actively utilizing the resources of NSSC to help all students in Jamaica. To transcend levels, you must step up and stand out. Vote Naomi Miller for your national president. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Naomi. All right, let me see if we have any questions for you currently. All right, so currently we don't have any questions for you. So we'll be moving on to our next presidential candidate, Ms. Laurel Williams from the Glenmore High School. Ms. Williams, you may go ahead and present.
Good evening. Am I being heard?
Yes, you're being heard.
Wonderful. All protocols observed. Greetings to you all, but especially to the future of Jamaica. My grandmother would always tell me, selfish sit down on the counter and wait for bread and butter. And unfortunately, I believe this has been the resounding story amongst the student councils across Jamaica, where they are dormant and inactive, yet still expect to reap awards. This cannot be the tale of student councils across Jamaica, at least not in my cabinet. It's time to get active. Student councils serve as the voice of students in their various institutions, ensuring that their rights are being upheld, their causes supported, and their needs met. But it seems to have dwindled to mere administrative checkboxes, where student councils are contained within that box, unable to create the real change necessary for student well-being, causing students to feel disenfranchised within their own schools. It's time for a paradigm shift. It's time to get active. Inactive, A represents amplifying youth perspectives, shaping national policies. We are the future. There is no future of Jamaica without us. How is it that at the table where our future is decided, we, the future, are not present? We play an indispensable role in the shaping of Jamaica's future. And I refuse to see our lights dimmed, our passion fading, and our spark fading out. It's time for us to get active. Where set paths have been paved but not successful, we will forge new ones. Where plans have been unfruitful, we shall go back to the drawing board. Because by all means necessary, the youth of Jamaica should be made a priority. Our values, our voices valued, heard, and action, and our cause supported. Through the establishment of NSSC News, a social media platform where students will be given the opportunity to state their views on national policies, the creation of petitions for involvement in policy reform, and the implementation of advocacy and leadership workshops, we aim to erect the seat at the table where our future is decided from the ground up, so that youth perspective would be put at the forefront. C stands for civic engagement. Now, when I was in grade 4, my teacher drilled in my all but 9-year-old mind that empty barrels make the most noise. And that is the reality of the current Jamaican society, where ignorance resonates in our streets and homeland. And if we aim to create a change, we must be the change. Youth have a civic responsibility. And in ridding the society of the mentality that children should be seen and not heard, we must be given a platform to speak. If the decisions of the government affect us, we have the right to speak about it. We are not just passive participants in the governmental affairs of our country, but direct participants and stakeholders of all that occurs within the country. It is essential for students to understand their rights and responsibilities as citizens, equipping them to evolve into conscientious, informed, and civically responsible members of society. Supporting the Ministry of Education and Youth in its reintegration of civics in the curriculum stands as the cornerstone of this specific operation, as we seek to continue to drive change through education. Additionally, the launch of the Civically Conscious campaign would promote citizens' rights and responsibilities, as well as civic literacy and active engagement through courtesy calls, workshops, seminars, and interactive sessions with students. T, trans-regional inclusivity. I hail from the illustrious Semper Flagrans Glenmere High School, when I served as the NSSC Region 7 executive member, and fulfilling my regional and national duties at times became increasingly difficult due to almost every event being held in the urban areas. Now, I didn't mind the traveling, I loved the traveling, but to rally the support of schools in my regions to attend these events was a difficult task. When this happens, it limits the potential and contributions of student leaders across Jamaica who have so much value to add to the conversation, but are unable due to their underrepresentation in these spaces. Students in urban areas cannot speak to the issues faced by students in rural areas. And so in achieving the NSSC's mandate of representing students island-wide, we must be committed to diversifying the location of national events so that more student councils would feel more involved in the process, hosting virtual town hall meetings to include voices from all regions, ensuring that every student has the opportunity to participate and share their perspectives, regardless of their geographic location. And of course, major emphasis will be placed on the work of regional executives to host parallel events that student councils across Jamaica would be able to feel the reverberating impact of the NSSC. I, improving digital literacy. As we continue to advance into a digitized world, it is important that we are equipped to navigate the future of this world. We should not stand idly by waiting for it, but rather seek to prepare ourselves for it. With the advancement of technology comes the facilitation of life and tasks, but consequently, it poses risk to safety, job security, and so much more. Students must be equipped with the knowledge and understanding of how to navigate the digital world, manipulating it for their advancement and not to their detriment. In seeking to develop responsible global citizens, we must become aware and cognizant of our actions on social media to protect us from safety threats, cyberbullying, and negative digital footprints. We should run technology. Technology should not be running us. To this end, the launching of social media campaigns, panel discussions featuring influencers, and collaboration with technology companies are all plans focused towards the goal of cultivating digital literacy amongst our students population. V, violence reduction. School is to be a hub of transformative learning and building lasting connections. However, the issue of violence in our schools echoes beyond the school corridors and is even impacting the wider Jamaican society. Violence cannot be reduced by tackling it on a surface level, but rather by tackling root causes. In most cases, at the root of violent behaviors in children is in the home. Through parent education programs, it is our hope to offer workshops and resources to help parents develop positive parenting skills, communication techniques, and conflict resolution strategies. Secondly, students are struggling mentally, and it is as a result of unresolved trauma and pent-up emotions that they vent their anger through violent acts. Therefore, the destigmatization of mental health issues through the organization of events, assemblies, and awareness campaigns to reduce stigma, educate students, staff, and parents about mental health, and the encouragement of help-seeking behavior would help to alleviate the mental health burden they seem to be carrying all alone. E, education empowerment. Education in both academic and vocational respects is what we learn to be the key to upward social mobility. However, education after secondary school seems to be a blur and a world of unknown for many secondary students leaving high school, which causes them to make missteps in the decision of their future. To address this common problem, I propose interactive Q&A sessions, virtual workshops, and webinars with college counselors and educators to provide students with access to educational resources and guidance on college readiness topics such as standardized testing, college applications, financial aid, career planning, and academic planning, specifically to assist students who plan to apply to universities abroad to make the process easier and smoother. In conclusion, it is imperative that student councils across Jamaica become more proactive and engaged. By embracing the principles of active, we can amplify youth perspectives, foster civic engagement, ensure regional inclusivity, enhance digital literacy, reduce violence, and empower educational opportunities. Together, let's seize this moment to transform our student councils into dynamic, influential bodies that truly represent and serve the interests of all students. Let us stay committed and drive meaningful change for the future of Jamaica. It's time to get active. Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
I want to thank both candidates for two passionate presentations. We can have some fires in the chat, some clapping emojis. I'm sure we can all agree that we thoroughly enjoyed both presentations. Now, the first question from the chat before we do the cross-sectioning is identify one challenge facing Jamaican students and briefly state how you intend to address it. Laurel?
Hi, could you please repeat your question?
Identify one challenge facing Jamaican students and briefly state how you would intend, briefly state how you intend to address it.
All right, when it comes on to issues that face Jamaican students, I believe something that is very unfortunate in our society, as I would have mentioned previously in my speech, is the negative stigma that is attached to mental health. Unfortunately, as our world continues to advance and we as students continue to grow older, I believe sometimes we are faced with several mental health burdens. And because of the nature of our society that believes that because we are children, we are unable to really experience any kind of real issues. We are unable to actually face any kind of hurt or anything beyond a real mental illness. You know, they say that, oh, we're not paying light bills, we're not doing anything in the house, therefore we are unable to feel these mental issues or be able to actually feel the effects of these mental issues, when really this couldn't be further from the truth. And so I believe this is an issue that is facing students across Jamaica, where I do not believe enough attention is really geared towards our mental and emotional well-being, but rather not too much, but it is disproportionate in that majority of attention is geared towards our academic prowess and how well we are doing in school, whereas our emotional, mental, and physical well-being is being put at the back burner so that we're able to really make our parents proud to do good in school at the expense of our well-being. And I believe that this is something that is really plaguing the students of Jamaica. And I believe it's so incredibly important that we learn to strike the balance between our social, physical, emotional, mental, and just our well-being and how we do in school. It's important for us to understand that, yes, we need to do well in school, we need to excel in school, but also it's important that we do not, lose our sanity, lose our mental grip only because of it, but rather we cater to our emotional and mental well-being. And
All right, so that's a question for both candidates. I'm going to give Naomi a chance to respond or to give her answer. Identify one challenge facing Jamaican students and briefly state how you, as president, intend to address it.
Good night again. A notice, challenge, or issue that we're realizing in school, and every year after year, semester after semester, term after term, it increasingly gets worse, and that's the active violence in school. We're not only seeing that with students against students, but we're now seeing it with teachers against students. And what I would do, even though many times the blame is pinned on us as students for being provoking each other or not knowing what to do, but within a society in itself, we have learned always to deal with things with our hands and not necessarily learn that there's correct and positive ways to communicate how we feel, to resolve conflicts. And as president, along with my team, along with my PRO, along with my secretary, along with my regional executives, will push for campaigns to be within our schools, that we're able to teach them step by step. There's other ways to unlearn and relearn, to change our ways, so that we're able to better resolve our issues within school. I'd also like to engage our students to engage our students with the proper examples of what oftentimes we realize that violence is coming from persons which are of lower socioeconomic background, and there's various other factors that we see that contribute to them having to result in these manners, to act in this way. So if we're able to identify the root of the issue by going within these schools, looking at the issue, looking at the infrastructure, speaking to the proper representatives, if we can work alongside the Ministry of Education to ensure that we have to ensure that we have guidance counselors within the school to actually train and to work alongside and to train our peer counselors under the student council, so that we're able to have even proper students that are level-minded. So the student council of all these local councils are not only just there to represent the students in a defensive matter, but to bring forth recommendations, to be trained in ways that we're able to teach our peers, to connect with our peers, to let them know of different ways we're able to resolve the issue, so that our environment in itself can be more fostering and welcoming to each other. That's my answer. Thank you so much.
All right, so the next question for both candidates: how will you ensure transparency and accountability in all NSSC activities and decisions? I'm going to ask Laurel to take that one first.
thank you so much for that question. When it comes on to transparency and accountability, I believe they must stand at the cornerstone of the operation of every good organization. Because in order for you to act with integrity and ensure that the objectives of the council, of the organization are being met, you must ensure that at your core, all that you're doing for the people that you serve. And so when it comes on to transparency and accountability in regards to the students across Jamaica, I promise to ensure to host virtual town hall meetings, to ensure that within these meetings, I would be able to garner the students' opinion from varying regions across Jamaica, so that I would be able to hear their perspectives on various issues that they are facing. When I am able to garner that student public opinion from all angles across Jamaica, I am able to better formulate the council response in order to actually fix the issue and to do that which must must be done in order to mitigate or to reduce the impact of the current issue that the students would be facing. When it comes on to transparency and accountability, it would be my goal to ensure that there is constant communication between the national executive and the regional executive, and from the regional executive, from the national council, national executives informing the regional council. I would ensure that the regional executives themselves are keeping all local executives in the loop. I believe that clear and constant communication is important, but not only clear and constant, but effective communication. When we speak, we must ensure that we speak with objectivity and duty and clarity, so that our words would not be misconstrued, nor would they be misinterpreted, but that rather the objectives of NSSC would be upheld in all that we do, and in our clear and transparent mode of communication, everybody would be able to be kept in the loop of all that is happening, of all that is going on, including my initiative of NSSC News, which would help to really bring light to students' perspective on national policies. All of this would contribute to students feeling really involved in the process. And when students feel involved in the process, it automatically gives the pathway for them to be, for us as the council to remain accountable of our actions, as we know that they are right there with us and beside us, ensuring that their voices are being heard and that their perspectives are being brought to the forefront. Thank you.
All right,
Yes.
Naomi.
Yes, I just really like you to repeat the question just once more, please. Is that possible?
Just a moment.
Okay.
How will you ensure transparency and accountability in all NSSC activities and decisions?
Okay, thank you so much for doing that. Me as president, alongside with my national executives and regional executives, there's one thing that is very important to ensure that there is accountability and transparency. Facts has to be collected. We don't want to move out of ignorance as the NSSC body and the representation that we give, or record should be clear of young people that are showing that we are responsible students that are able to make the difference. So through collection of facts, before we're giving any press release, before we move forward with anything, we'll have to ensure that facts on every grounds are collected. We're looking at things from every perspective. And even if we're addressing an issue that would have affected a student, we'll ensure that we give forth recommendation for this. The channels of communication are vital, not only through the channel of communication with the nationals to the regionals and the locals, but the partnership that we have with the Ministry of Education in relations to our YEOs and these different entities that are able to assist us to move as students, to bring forth the change that we want to see within our country, to move alongside these adults that have been placed over us, or YEOs, to get insight on what to do for their briefing, for their help and assistance, and not only to keep ourselves in tune, updated, educated, ensuring that we're grasping knowledge day by day. We're reading through the policies that have been made. We're ensuring that we understand our rights, to if there is a breach to our rights, or transparency and our accountability in what we do is brought forth in alignment with all protocol, that we're able to bring forth the effectiveness through our communication on all channels, through assistance, and not only that, but through partnership with the persons that we have and the resources that we have to ensure that this is done.
All right, stay with us, Naomi. The next question is, how will you address and reduce educational disparities among different schools and regions?
Okay, we must realize that distance is a major issue. Having served in NSSC for 2 years from grade 11 and grade 12, I can see that there is oftentimes there's oftentimes inequality in regards to opportunities. These are major issues that always come up within our council. But there's one thing that we do when you're on the grounds, we're able to push forth ideas and initiatives and to encourage different houses to include other individuals from across the different regions. Tearing down disparities have to do with various things under various headings. The initial thing that we would have to do is to ensure that on our end we try to include everyone from our region. Speak to our regional executives. Try to get sponsorship to ensure that different regional representation is there. We have persons from the urban areas that are present, and representatives from the rural regions that are present, that we're able to bring about a holistic view to whatever that we're bringing forth and wheresoever we're going, to ensure that that representation is clear. And not only that, we do this through various fundraisings that we have. We do alongside our treasurer to gain funds that we're able to assist to ensure that disparities are as minimal as possible in any areas across the regions and across the nation within itself. And not only that, but for communication to come forth from our regional executives on what's the issues, what's the difficulties, what are the inequalities that are being faced, how is it that we're able, and come up with ideas of together of how we're able to mitigate and to correct that.
Laurel, you may respond to the question.
Thank you so much for that question. When it comes on to addressing, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question one more time, please?
How will you address and reduce educational disparities among different schools and regions?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. When it comes on to addressing educational disparities, it requires a multifaceted and concerted approach in order to accomplish this. So first, something that I'm very passionate about is trans-regional inclusivity. Me serving as an executive in Region 7, I have experienced firsthand certain disparities where we are unable to benefit from certain opportunities that we are given as youth leaders simply because of geographic immobility. And I am a firm believer in that this should not be the case. The reality is that students in urban areas cannot speak to the issues of students in rural areas, and inadequately representing students across Jamaica, which is the NSSC's mandate, we must ensure that all students, regardless of geographical location, are given a sufficient platform in order to bring forth the issues that they're facing and that their voices are heard in every single matter that concerns them. So first, we must seek to diversify the location of national events. When it comes on to events like Student Council Week, it should never be that all events throughout the week are held in one particular place, but instead we can advocate for events to be held in various regions across Jamaica so that different students from different student leaders across Jamaica would be able to partake in these activities and feel involved in these processes. When it comes on particularly to addressing educational disparities within our school system, we can advocate and lobby for differentiated teaching instructions, in that some students are visual learners, some students are auditory learners, some students are tactile learners, some students are simply hands-on learners. And in order to ensure that all students are really catered for within the education system, that all students are benefiting from the education that they're given within schools, it is important to consider a multifaceted approach. It's important that the Ministry of Education fosters and facilitates different modes of teaching, such as visual aids, auditory aids, and just that teachers utilize these different methods so that they are able to cater to the entire student body that is present within their class, so that all students would be able to benefit from the lessons that they are being taught in class, and they actually feel impacted and empowered through education. When it comes on to, just addressing any problem at all, no man is an island and no man stands alone. Collaboration in every possible way is important. Collaboration between the NSSC and the Ministry of Education and Youth, collaboration between the local councils and their schools administration, their communities. Through collaboration, we can ensure that various funding is given for various initiatives, whether it is that within a school they are in need of a projector, they are in need of speakers, they can reach out to private entities, they can reach out to community centers, they can even reach out to the Ministry of Education and Youth, because even through their campaign, The Trend, they have sought to digitize the teaching methods present within schools with the giving of and the sponsorship of, I believe, laptops to teachers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Things like that help in addressing the educational disparities in Jamaica, ensuring that all students across Jamaica are given one of their most fundamental rights, and that is a right to an education. Thank you.
All right. Final question before we head into the cross section, and I'll start off with Laurel. What legacy do you hope to leave at the end of your term, and how will you ensure the continuity of said legacy, of said initiative?
Could you please repeat that for me?
What legacy do you hope to leave at the end of your term, and how will you ensure the continuity of your initiatives?
Thank you so much for that question. When it comes on to the work of the National Secondary Students Council, I am truly very passionate about the objects of everything that the organization is about. And when it comes on to the legacy that I want to leave, the legacy I want to leave is that all student councils across Jamaica would feel the impact of the NSSC. Being a regional executive, I have been to many courtesy calls across my region where students had no clue about what the NSSC was. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know what it was about. And these are student council presidents. It is my goal that, having served in my tenure, that student councils across Jamaica would know the name and the work of the NSSC. They would feel as though they are involved in these processes. They would feel as though they are empowered to do their jobs. They would feel inspired and motivated with just an intrinsic need and desire to do that which they must to defend students, to put students' rights at the forefront. I want it to be that the legacy that I leave is one where students are not just developed in one particular way, but that rather I want to lobby for the holistic development of students through them being more civically aware, digitally aware, for them just to becoming all-rounded student leaders who are able to go out into the world and make positive, lasting impacts upon the world. Because sure, what we do now is us as students, but we won't always remain students. I want it to be that through my initiatives, through what I do, through everything that is done within the council, that these student leaders would be empowered to continue the legacy, to continue their hard work of defending, to defend rights, to stand up as beacons of hope within their institutions, to stand up and to stand out and to do that which they must to put others before them, to serve others, and just to ensure that the leadership codes, leadership qualities would not just start in high school and end in high school, but rather would begin to go throughout their entire college lives, their adulthood. I would want it to be that these lessons help to develop them and shape who they are further as leaders and individuals, so that the impact would not just stop after high school, but it would just continue to last and leave lasting impacts upon them. When it comes on to continuity, I believe that I am very firm on creating a firm foundation. The Bible talks about a firm foundation, and that the man who created the city upon the hill, the rain and the storms came, yet the house did not fall. And therefore, I believe in creating firm foundations for all of my initiatives, so that when the upcoming student leadership body comes in, they would have a firm foundation upon which to continue to build and create an even bigger legacy than I have created, which I hope to create, that they would be able to do even more impactful works, and that they would just continue the legacy of the council. And for me, that is, and the only way that I can seek to do that is by really setting a firm foundation, to doing that which I must, to lay the groundwork and to lay good and well and proper, so that the next council would be able to build upon it and continue to develop and impact all students across Jamaica. Thank you.
Naomi?
Thank you so much for that question. When I think about the legacy that I would want to leave, it's something that is not just now, since you've asked the question, that it has been budding within my heart. It's a constant thing that I ask myself daily. What is the legacy that I want to leave? Do I want to be like a sunflower that can be placed into the hands of whosoever that I'm around, that can make them smile, for them to see that there's sunshine. And I found leadership as a way that I'm able to do this, able to bring forth a light into that area. I know that when we previously spoke about the disparities within our education system, and that is why I came up with my very theme about transcending levels, seeing that there are issues within our society, there are places that we need to go, there is a stairway that we have to climb, and it involves us stepping up from level to level. And in my capacity elected, and if elected president for the National Secondary Students Council, the legacy that I want to leave is to inspire a young girl, a young man that may feel as the level that they're at is the place that they should forever stay. But no, for them to see that there is a level 2 that they can step to, there's a level 3, there's a level 4. This would be done through initiative and innovative ideas that are unlike any other. And not only that, but I think about the legacy of NSSC as a whole, of the representation of Jamaica land we love. I'm a history student, and I would have understood that Jamaica was a trendsetting country in the movement towards independence from the British colonies and our very European colonies. I say this to say that NSSC, a body from Jamaica, is a trend-setting body that can bring about Caribbean-wide change for student representation. And the wholeheartedness of the legacy that I want to leave in NSSC is for us to be able to not only start the discussion, but to bring about action for the movement of regional integration in a way that reflects the future of the future of the region, of the future of the Caribbean, hearing from the Eastern Caribbean countries, hearing from our very or from the Greater Antilles, the Lesser Antilles. I want us to come together. The legacy that I want to leave is for multiplayer mode to come in effect, for us to move together for Caribbean development and to be able to exchange ideas so that we're able to fix problems in Jamaica that maybe the after that Trinidad may be able to fix. And not only that, I want to leave a mark within the heart of someone to understand that there is power within there's power within sight of potential. That after that through the power within sight of potential, seeing yourself, to be able to see yourself beyond the minority, to be able to see yourself beyond negativity, and to move into different levels of yourself, and to move into different insight of understanding who you are, the leadership within you, and not only leadership within Jamaica, but who you are holistically as a person. That I'm able to be better than I was yesterday, and I'm able to push past negative thoughts and voices and to impact change within my school, my community. My legacy that I want to leave is for international change and for individual change to push forth for national difference.
All right, thank you very much, ladies. As I said before, two passionate presenters. You can just add some fires in the chat, some clapping emojis in the chat to celebrate our presidential candidates on two enlightening presentations. I'm going to move on now to the cross-sectioning aspect. I want to just remind the candidates that each candidate will be allowed to ask up to 3 cross questions. Responses should be concise with a time limit of 2 minutes per response and 1 minute for a follow-up question. I see the responses coming in, keep them going. And I'm going to start off with Laurel for her question to Naomi.
Hi, Naomi. Can you provide examples of initiatives you have led as a regional executive within your region and the impact that they had?
Okay, first serving regionally, as secretary/PRO, we moved in extensively. Although Region 1 is the largest region and it's considered the region that has most resources, the thing is that because of the extent to which our region is, there's been difficulty within our very own region to connect these councils. Within my tenure initially, we moved for greater communication and connection within regions. And not only that, when I stepped into the post of the secretary/PRO, the secretarial aspect the secretarial aspect to my position was, a little faulty. We weren't getting our bi-monthly reports. We weren't seeing that activity happening. So my personal initiative for the post that I was in was to get liaison with my various student council presidents to push forth for this. And not only that, but within our regional capacity, we moved to carry out our courtesy calls in and out of the periods that we were expected to do so. Because although our region is known as the active region, we had individuals across our region that had no knowledge of what they were supposed to do with our student councils. So meet with them. We met with them virtually to dissolve issues, and we met with them physically to ensure the activity. We oftentimes had consultations within our various executives and tried to break down our own disparity of the traditional school versus the non-traditional schools for the melting pot of our region to take place. That was just some of the activities that we were able to do within the region and to collaborate together to ensure that we had effective communication, both physically and our projects of ensuring that we had the understanding, disseminating of understanding and consultation amongst the regions.
Thank you very much. Laurel, your turn.
Hi, Laurel. So you spoke extensively, especially about the movement for civic involvement within the school. And I know it's an amazing initiative and it may sound so great, but how do you expect that what is your idea and initiative for it actually to reach to product level within the school and within leadership governance, within school student governance, I mean?
All right, thank you so much. All right, so when it comes on to, civic engagement, I'm grateful to say that the Minister of Education has already begun the process of reintegrating civics into the school curriculum across secondary school students. It hasn't occurred for every secondary school as yet, however, it is still in the process. Therefore, in advocating for and supporting the Minister of Education and Youth in the facilitation and in the reintegrating of civics within school system and within the school curriculum, that is where I would hope for it to ultimately reach on a national and on a regional basis as well. But when it comes down to what I plan to do within my tenure, as that process, may still be a little bit, lay-weighted, due to various reasons, I plan to host the campaign Civically Conscious, where it is my goal, along with the national executives and regional executives who would like to partake in it, to visit schools across Jamaica. So, it would be almost impossible to visit every school in every parish, but it is my hope to visit every parish and to invite all schools within that parish to one specific school in the parish, where we would come and host the campaign Civically Conscious, where we would engage in panel discussions, workshops, and discussions centered particularly about civic engagement, the roles, rights, and responsibilities of citizens, so that the students become more intrinsically aware about their roles, rights, and responsibilities as students. So in that way, it would be my goal to reach almost all secondary students by visiting every parish within the country, to ensure that it is not just only a part is being really impacted by this, but rather it would be an impact on a regional island-wide level. So yeah.
All right. Laurel, you have to pose another question to Naomi. You see, it's a heated matchup. See Laurel fanning.
Okay, Naomi, how do you respond to criticisms or concerns raised by stakeholders?
Can you just break that down a little further? Because I want to fully understand that. I get your question completely. And not,
All right. So at times as youth leaders, we face, criticisms and a lot of, well, we face a lot of criticisms by various stakeholders, whether that, we're not doing our job a particular way, we're not doing it right as they would perceive it to be right. So how do you respond to criticisms that would be raised by various stakeholders in the execution of your job and responsibilities?
Okay, first I have to understand that with leadership in itself, criticisms are bound to come. And you have to understand two things. There is positive criticism and negative criticism. So with me already understanding that and being in leadership for so long now, I'm not saying that I become immune to the effects of criticism, but I've come to understand that it is important to filter what is entered within my mind, to filter what is entered within my space, and not only that, to be able to sift through the noise, to sift through all of that's going on, to understand what is there that is able to help me develop my council, to help me to develop the Jamaican itself, to develop myself, what it is that we're able to do better. And I have to understand that the standpoint that we are on is in the defense and the protection of our students' rights. And in the protection of our students' rights, at times it is not seen because it's not seen as an equal space, it's not seen as an equal ground. So understanding that as in Jamaica yourself, I'm brought back. I've understood that it's something that is developed over time. And not only that, but I understand the position that I'm in. I understand what I'm coming up against. And that I'm able to understand that the criticisms that come are bound to happen, but it's not able to break what the initial goal is, and that is to protect the students, to defend the students, and to show that we are responsible students and we are able to make the difference within ourselves. So it's understanding what criticism is and knowing how to mitigate it when it does come.
All right. Thank you, Naomi.
Yes. Don't stress yourself, Chamoy. I will just ask her the question.
Right.
So okay, so my question for you, Laurel, is that understanding that the position of president is not an easy one. It involves a lot. It involves a lot of sacrifices. Involves a lot of stress that we may not want to talk about right now, but it is the reality of it. So my question is to you: how are you going to manage when you have some regional executives that may not want to carry out their job? In the middle of the year, they decide that they're not going to carry it out? Or how are you going to manage those difficulties? And how are you going to ensure that communication is actually upheld amongst regional executives, and not only that, but local executives? And also, it's like a three-part question. And how are you going to manage to ensure that your manifesto, in the extent of it, is accomplished in the realistic time frame that you have as a tenure? Not necessarily a year, but a couple months.
Okay, so due to it being three parts, I'm asking, please, just repeat it.
All right, the first one is to deal with the stress that you have in the position as president. How will you manage that, mitigate through that? Secondly, the second part to the question is understanding that at times regional executives may become burnt out or become lackadaisic in their position. How are you going to manage that and to ensure that communication is still upheld within other regional executives and the locals within themselves, and with the pressure of ensuring that the extent to your manifesto is done within the time frame?
All right, thank you so much for that question. All right, so when it comes on to dealing with the stress that is, inevitable in this space, what I have learned is that we all are very passionate about what we do. However, passion will never be enough. The Bible says faith without works is dead. And in the same way, passion without the resilience, the hard work, and the discipline is also very dead. When it comes on to dealing with the stress that is no doubt inevitable with this job, I am equipped with a particular sense of duty to this job. And I'm reminded every single day of why I started in the first place. In moments when I feel down, in moments when I feel overwhelmed, I try to remember why I started this in the first place. Why did I choose to do this in the first place? Why did I put myself through this in the first place? And I am reminded that it is the students All I have ever wanted to do is to serve the students. I am a firm believer in that the school system that was created for us, it should serve us. There should be no other mandate but that it serves us, that it works in our benefit. And so I believe in moments of stress, in moments of my being possibly overwhelmed by my duties or by what is to come, I would be reminded of my sense of duty, my reason for starting in the first place. And at the end of the day, students should be made paramount in every single decision that is made concerning them. That students' rights should be upheld in every single matter that concerns them. And above all, students should be put at the forefront. I mean, a big part of handling stress is about effective time management. I plan to really manage my time in an effective way. I will hold different leadership roles, and it is important that each one gets enough of my time and attention. Therefore, I am dedicating myself to proper time management to ensure that all things would get my appropriate attention and attention to detail as well, to ensure that all things are carried out and are carried out in a holistic, sensible, and in a proper way. I mean, too, it's also very important when it comes on to sometimes the local and regional executives may become discouraged, especially when it's exam time, or just possibly when it is, the job becomes a little bit overwhelming. In times like those, I believe in not just being one particular leader. You have transformative leaders, you have democratic, autocratic leaders. However, I plan to be in those moments a perfect fusion of them all, in that I believe that there are important characteristics to take from each leader that we have learned about. And therefore, it is in my goal of becoming a fusion of these great leaders that I would seek to, in these moments, really spend some time to encourage them. Because the truth is, as leaders, sometimes we become very discouraged and very, just overwhelmed by our responsibilities and in our duties. And in those moments, I would definitely seek to really encourage my executives to take one-on-one time with them, to ask them how they are, and to really not just to be their president and their leader, but also to be their friend. Because sometimes we just need a friend. We just need a listening ear. We just need a familiar face. And so in times like those, I would definitely be there for my councils, be there for my executives in whatever way that they would need me to be there as a beacon of hope, to really encourage them in their times of need, and just to be there for them. And so in the pursuit of and in my goal of becoming national president, it is really my goal to not just take it from one side, but to really utilize a multifaceted and concerted approach to ensure that all factors of my leadership, in whatever way they would present themselves, would be adequately provided for and adequately looked about, so that in everything, all things would be done in such a way that there is a holistic development and everybody get like a touch, everybody get feel of something, to really feel as though they're involved in this process, they are a part of this process, and that they matter. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. As Laura said, everybody get a little touch. I'm sure we were all touched by the presentations that both candidates offered to us. Now, if the candidates have another question for each other, this is your final question. So this is the last opportunity that you have to present your question to your opponent, if there is any more.
Just one. What unintended consequences do you foresee with your proposal, and how do you plan to mitigate them?
Unintended consequence? I don't want to be clear as possible. Just break down your question some more.
Okay, so essentially, what are the limitations of your proposal, and how do you plan to mitigate them or to solve them?
All right. With every dream, there is there can be oppositions and hindrances in it. I have first identified one which many persons may think will be quote unquote impossible, and that is the level 3. I'm pressing my theme. Level 3, which is the multiplayer mode for regional integration. It has been proven, or we have seen in previous years, that there's difficulty to get in contact and to bring about this formation, because not every Caribbean country has a as a national student representation body that students are able to directly speak to, and to bring about this regional the Caribbean-based student-led organization. It would involve us, and the issue that would be is to be able to actually encourage and to get these things done within these other Caribbean countries, which would be for them to have a policy driven towards the protection of students' rights within the school and to have a student representation sit on the board. That is the issue that I would say, the limitation that it is. The way how I intend to mitigate this, that there is power in the masses, there is power in voices, that it was the very history of NSSC within itself shows that there is power within a unified body, and it was the unified body of the students that came together that decided that they were not going to stand for the injustices that they were experiencing and the inequalities that they were experiencing. So to push forth and to encourage the other Caribbean member states to join together with their body masses and to help them to write forth their proposals and to bring forth their ideas and to present it to the different organizations, to work liaison with them, not only with talk but with documents and writings to bring forth that change. That's how I intend to mitigate the issue. Laurel, I have one more question for you.
I'm listening.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't see your camera go on. That's fine. So it's a hypothetical situation that may happen. So standing in the, see that you're elected, if so, and standing in the position of president, right? You will be faced with various situations and circumstances without any warning, without any sight. Suppose you have a student that is found with a contraband, like a weapon on him, and there is and not no, let me rephrase it. Let me give you a different scenario. So suppose there's a student that they're faced with injustice because of the type of hair that they have. The school is refusing to let them come because what they have locks within them here, they're proclaiming to quote unquote be a part of the Rastafarianism religion, but there's nothing that is able to back it. There's nothing that is able to support it, but they're being expelled from school. As the president, how are you able to stand in that gap to ensure that their justice is brought forth?
Thank you so much for that question. I'm grateful to say that as a regional executive, despite my just serving for 1 year, I have been blessed with several situations that I have had to deal with as if I was serving for more than 1 year. One particular situation that my Region 7 executives and I, Alison and Chanel Brooks, we faced an issue where a student was suspended from school because of their hair. It was said that their hair was described to be unkempt, it was unclean, and so immediately we got into action. I believe it is very important that in some cases we cannot always be proactive. However, in situations where we must be reactive, we must ensure that we do not delay, we don't lay. It's important that when we act immediately, we act concertedly, and ensure that we do not allow for the fire to burn out before we seek to out it ourselves. We cannot afford for the fire to begin to light up everything and destroy everything in its path before we come and out the fire. Therefore, for me, it's very important that when these issues, which are, inevitable to arise, we ensure to act immediately. So in this particular situation, the Region 7 executives got straight into action. We emailed the school and visited the school using a courtesy call, and we would have spoke directly with the administrators, and we would have properly prepared ourselves. I am a firm believer that in the right that we have been given to use our voice, it is important that we use it responsibly. We have not just been given a voice to speak. We're not just to speak. We're not to speak just to be heard, but rather when we speak, we are supposed to speak with duty. We're supposed to speak with objectivity. We're supposed to speak with the objective of being heard, to drive forth meaningful and tangible change. And therefore, it is with that responsibility in mind, knowing the power of one's voice, that when we entered into that meeting, we did not just go just to say, oh, students' rights should be observed in this matter. No. We ensured to brought out the facts. We ensured to brought out the Constitution under the Education Act, under the education regulations of Jamaica, to ensure that what we say and what we do is not just backed by our word and our word alone, but it is backed by the literature, by the law, by the constitution, which mandates that students cannot be expelled and or, well, insane with your example, cannot be expelled or suspended, or rather on one occasion for simply their hairline or for their hair not being kept as it should be according to school standards. That can never and should never be the case. And should I ever be put into a situation, first, it is my goal to ensure that all student leaders get the experience. Let us say it happens in a particular region. First, my first action would be to speak to those regional executives to inspire them to get into action to do it. And if it is that they require, and I would of course be there to guide them, but it is important to me to give them those experiences and those opportunities so that they are able to mature and nurture their leadership. And I will be there to guide them every step of the way. And if they need my help further, I will be there in a heartbeat to represent and support them, because at the end of the day, my ultimate goal and mission is to serve the students of Jamaica and to ensure that their rights are put at the forefront. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidates. Ricardo.
All right, so good job so far, candidates. Awesome debate, very fiery. Love the camaraderie between both presidential candidates. So right now, we just want to open the floor to our non-presidential candidates and ask them, since they will be the ones that you will be leading, we want to ask them if they have any questions to ask you. So non-presidential candidates, you can go ahead. Let's start off with Zanik. Zanik, do you have any questions to ask either or both of our presidential candidates?
I'd have to think about it. I don't have any right now, but I'll get back to you for sure.
All right, thank you. Zamoy, do you have any questions to ask either or both presidential candidates?
I would like to ask both candidates
All right,
the same question. Okay, being at the national level comes with various skills and abilities. What are the skills that you possess which makes you the perfect candidate for this position? I'll ask Laurel to go first.
Hi, good night. Can you please repeat your question?
Good night, sure. Being at the national level comes with various skills and abilities. What are the skills that you have which makes you the perfect candidate?
Thank you so much for that question. When it comes on to my skills regarding leadership, I'm a firm believer in that experience garners wisdom. And so I'm very grateful to have begun my track record of leadership from as young as I was in second form. So I would have served in my school student council for the past 3 years, serving as a student council, the student council vice president, and currently I serve as a student council president. Not only in student council, but I'm also very active in United Nations and Key Club, where I currently serve as president. And so being in diverse leadership space, I have been granted the incredible privilege of learning from the hands of and from the minds of incredible leaders who have all helped in honing my skills and my abilities. More than that, I have been given incredible opportunities where I have been given chances to represent Jamaica internationally at United Nations conferences, which have really helped my negotiating and consensus building and teamwork skills, which I believe are very vital to the role of national president. I have also within these roles garnered my skills in public speaking, diplomacy, as at these UN conferences, I would have to represent the objects of various countries across the world, bringing forth global issues and speaking about them, not from Jamaica's perspective, but from the perspective of several other countries. Skills like that, I believe, are really essential and necessary within this space where we will be called to negotiate and build consensus among students from various parts of Jamaica, and therefore in negotiating, in building consensus and actually finding common ground between students from amongst various parts of the island. I believe those skills have been very necessary in the execution of my job. More than that, I have served as secretary for probably in 3 different organizations for the past 3 years, and so it has definitely honed my skill and my ability of being very attentive to detail. There is almost nothing that I do not miss. I am very careful, very attentive to detail to ensure that every T is crossed, every I is dotted, and to ensure that in everything and in every word that is done by me, it is it represents me well, and it no supper, no last minute work, nothing like that, because I ensure that the work that I put out represents me and represents me well. And it wouldn't just be representing me as should I be the president of the National Secondary Students Council, but rather it would properly represent the NSSC to ensure that the work that we put out properly represents us, and it would not put us to shame. I think also being in these diverse leadership positions, I have faced various challenges, because challenges are inevitable, and it was in the midst of these challenges that my resilient spirit was really builded upon. In times like those, I really had to find ways when there was no way. I had to make the impossible possible, and I believe circumstances like those have really built my resilient spirit. Circumstances like those have really built my critical thinking skills in order to think on the spot, in order to generate solutions out of almost seemingly impossible problems, and really being able to do that which I must with the resources given in order to ensure that the object of our job is really completed. I am also skilled in debating, again, from my experience in MUN. I love a good debate, and it is so in debating skills, I believe that I have really and truly learned the art of negotiation, as well as organization and time management, which I believe is very important, as well as scheduling, to ensure that in our limited time frame that we're given to serve our tenure, I would ensure that with this attention to detail, organization skills, and time management skills, I would definitely seek to ensure that all the objects and the goals of our manifesto would be accurately met, and to ensure that it wouldn't just be a lip service. My manifesto would not be a lip service, but rather be a real plan and goal of what it is I plan to do in my tenure should I be elected. So I think that's it. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much for that response. Naomi?
In the heat of listening and following the story, the question, and it slipped me. Can you please repeat?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Being at the national level comes with various skills and abilities. What are the skills that you possess that makes you the perfect candidate?
Okay, that's a lovely question. A very lovely question, actually. So, as I said, leadership is not something that is necessarily new to me. I believe that leadership is something within my own life. It is something that I have grown in and matured in time with time. By over time, I mean that it literally takes step. I know I keep emphasizing my slogan, but let me do it. Let me do it. Okay, I've had to step up onto different realms. I have to step up into different levels, and leadership is something that, as I said, it's identifying something that is small. So within myself and the skills that I've acquired, it came from giving responsibility over small tasks. So when I served in my student council in my school, I was given responsibilities that weren't even in my portfolio. So I had to step into the income and stand in a position of secretary in various positions, and then I've had to stand in a position of VP in various times. So what I'm saying is that through just being given responsibilities over small tasks, even when I didn't see myself qualified for it, I had not the portfolio for it, but I still had to step into it, would have allowed me to acquire skills such as learning how to pivot on spot, not being prepared for a situation, not being prepared for a circumstances, but understanding that you have to keep awareness around it, being aware of your surroundings. So learning to become observant. Not only that, I won't necessarily say that my skills were only acquired through being a part of clubs and societies and different organizations, but even within the subject choices that I have that I have within school, especially in sociology, I've understood that within your research process that you have to you have to have liaison participation, where you are among the people without them even knowing. You're anonymous, but you're being covert, right? So I'm trying to say that being undercover in situations, sitting down, becoming aware of your surrounding, becoming firsthand, being a part of the discussion has allowed me to acquire skills that I'm able to be social, I'm able to connect, I'm able to have empathy. Those are skills and qualities that I've acquired through leadership in various situations. In the position of president for my local council would have allowed me to be able to learn how to face intimidation. So you have administration that is here to intimidate you. You have various entities that don't think you should be in the role, that don't think that students should have so much say. So I'd have to, with standing in that position would have allowed me to be able to stand up for myself, to be able to grow in confidence, which is needed for the position of president, which is needed to understand opposition, which is needed to be able to be in the position or be in face of your adversaries, and not only that, but to face them while pivoting on spot. So there's different levels that I've had to go through in that. And not only that, as I said, I'm really active within my own church, and I stand in positions within my church as secretary for more than one position, more than one department. And that would have allowed me to learn about organization, time management, meeting of deadlines, and all of these things which have become like my livelihood, which have become a part of me to ensure that I'm doing, and to have an active mind that is always thinking of solution for problems. And I know this may be something that many persons do not love about themselves and many persons struggle with. I am an overthinker, but an overthinker doesn't necessarily have to be a negative attribute of one's personality or character, because my overthinking has caused me to always want to be over prepared, and being over prepared has allowed me to be able to cover different ends. So due to my overthinking and all of that, I'm able to think about situations and circumstances and scenarios from beforehand, so that I'm able to create solutions for them while planning it out. And not only that, I've learned how to open up my little laptop, open up my phone, and understand that there's power in words, typing up proposals, typing up documents, typing up writings. So through that, I'm able to grow in communication, both written and orally. So that verbally, I should say, that persons are able. So these are just persons are able to understand the standpoint. These are attributes that I know that is needed for a president, and I think that I know that I've got it, and I'm able to bring forth to it so I can fulfill the position and serve the students in a great capacity. I'm finished responding. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you very much.
Awesome. I hope that those responses were very, very well put together, very fiery, very passionate. All right. Do we have any more questions from any of our other candidates on the platform? Any of our other candidates? Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. So, as an outgoing regional exec, I have seen instances or scenarios where schools in the regional areas are overlooked, like the rural schools are overlooked to when the big decisions are making and stuff. So my questions for the candidate is, what are the steps will you take to ensure that each region is represented equally and not overlooked?
Which candidate are you directing that to? Laura or Naomi? For Naomi.
Both candidates can answer.
All right, so Laura, you can go first. Candidate, remember that you have a 2-minute response time. All right, so Laura, you can answer first.
Hi, I'm sorry. Could you repeat your question one more time, please?
Okay, so my question is that as a past regional executive, I have seen instances where rural schools are overlooked. And I want to know, what are the steps you will take to ensure that each region is represented equally and not overlooked?
Okay, thank you so much for that question, Jaden. All right, so when it comes on to this issue, it is the T in active when it refers to trans-regional inclusivity. Being a Region 7 executive, I have understood and experienced it firsthand, where at times schools in other regions tend to be overlooked. And therefore, I have made it my mission to ensure that in my representation of students, it would not just be a minority, but rather, to the best of my ability, I would become the voice. The NSSC would become the voice of student councils across Jamaica, because I am genuinely of the belief that all of us deserve to be represented and our voices deserve to be brought to the forefront. When it comes on to initiatives and steps that I would take to ensure that they are not overlooked, it comes down to an almost reliance on the regional executives. The job of the regional executives is so very important. And the truth is, if you have a dead region, or rather, if you have lackadaisical regional executives, it will automatically translate into the local councils that are a part of that region. My goal is to really motivate and encourage the work of the regional executives to ensure that there is constant line of communication between the regional execs and the local councils to ensure that they're being engaged. It would be my goal to ensure that regional executives are not just, hosting courtesy calls, but rather hosting courtesy calls within Student Council Week, but rather they would have a constant relationship with their local councils by hosting various courtesy calls in and outside of Student Council Week to ensure that these regional executives would ensure that there are actual events that they are hosting within their region. As a regional executive, I hosted the Escaping the Social Media Maze event, which was geared towards inspiring digital literacy amongst students within my region. And that event was very fruitful in that students positively gained effects from such an event, and therefore that brought about for the camaraderie and the relationship and for the activity of schools within Region 7. In the same way, I would encourage regional executives to host events such as that to ensure that there is constant engagement and activity amongst the regional executives. I would mandate that every region hosts their own singular event to ensure that there is constant activity and that they are remaining active within their various regions. More than that, it is my goal to diverse location of national events to ensure that there would be national events located in almost every region to the best of our ability, to ensure that all students will be given almost an equal opportunity to be able to attend these events and be able to contribute greatly to them. Beyond that, it would be my goal to host virtual town hall meetings, as I understand to host physical town hall meetings with all students across Jamaica would be a very hefty task. It is my goal, and I mean, recognizing resource constraints, it would be my goal to host virtual town hall meetings to ensure that the voice of students across Jamaica would be heard and that their voice will be brought to the forefront. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I want to remind the candidates to stay within the guidelines of time. Naomi, just a quick response.
Okay, please do repeat the question again. As I said, I'm just so interested in the responses.
Okay, so my question was that as a past regional executive member, schools in the rural areas are overlooked and not included in the big decision. So my question is, what steps will you take to ensure that each region is represented equally and not overlooked?
Okay. In the concept of being overlooked in big decisions, I'm going to, because I don't want to take up too much time, I'm going to try and break it down what I believe that you mean by big decisions in relations to our decisions as the NSSC body. As I said, I am not an authoritative leader, but I am a democratic leader, meaning that I consider the opinion and the voices of all my executives, both the nationals and the regionals. And as I said, we have regional executives to represent these regional positions within our rural areas. So in relation to the quote unquote big decisions that have to be made by our council within itself, consultation with the regional executives will be paramount in the decision that is brought forth. It will be very important, and it is a crucial point in the step of a final release or solution that has to be made before anything is issued to the public, before anything aired out to the media. And the second thing that I would do in relation to the involvement within activities outside of like attending of events and representation in such and such. As I said, that a major issue that I will observe being a a major issue that I would have observed standing in regional positions for 2 years is transportation. So there's, as we know, there's willingness for representation, but there isn't any transportation. And this is why I'm pressing for the importance of my treasury and the funding that we have through our treasury within my tenure to be growing more and more. I don't play with my money. And that in that case, as I said, that with through fundraising and through gaining our monetary independence as young people and as student leaders, we're able to invest in transportation for regional executives, and not only a regional executive, but regional representatives to come and to
Right.
give and
Thank
be a
you. Thank
revenue.
you very much, Naomi. Thank you. Thank
Can I
you.
just finish my point? I beg you. I beg you. It's my last sentence.
We know. Make it in 5 seconds.
Okay, to observe our regional executives to be able to attend these events and to have regional representation through transportation being provided from us and through collaboration with different entities to bring for transportation. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the end of a heated but professional debate. I am going to now hand over to Nicardo.
All right, thank you so much, Tremoy. And thank you so much to our very passionate, purpose-driven, and absolute-minded candidates who are all vying for their various positions. We thank you all for your manifestos, your debates, the passions put behind your speeches. It has truly been a very most interesting debate thus far, very informative and very enlightening and inspiring. Continue with that drive and continue to push forward past the mark and even past the stars. So with that being said, great job once again, everybody. And we will conclude this year's NSSC national debates. Best of luck to all our candidates. And we look forward to seeing what you all will do in your future endeavors. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone, both on the Zoom platform and the YouTube platform, for joining us this evening. Thank you.